सब ठीक है टाइम पे स्टार्ट सिग्नल है स्टार्ट सिग्नल
Good afternoon, friends. Last class we have discussed about the overview of operations management. We discussed a lot of things. Today I will take up the unit 2, that is product selection and process selection. As you know, this world is competitive and the world is global. That means all companies are now competing in a global space, not in a domestic level. So designing new products, getting them to the market is a challenging job faced by most of the manufacturers in the competitive market. Customers' demand are changing rapidly. So it is the main responsibility of the manufacturers or the producers to add customer specification in the product and deliver them it at the lowest cost. Product development activity links customer needs, expectations to the activities required to manufacture. How the manufactured products are selected, how the process to produce them is selected is the main concerns of today's discussion. So, to get back to our discussions, I can say that in a competitive market, we should design our product in a best way possible. And that is the challenging task about every producers or every manufacturers. Not only that, as I told you, the customers' demand are changing. It's a dynamic process. So the companies must try to add specifications. It bring varieties in the product. And at the end or at the outset, I can say that product development activity links customer needs and expectations. So today I am basically going to discuss how the products are selected, what is the process of selection, and how to produce them. Now, as I told you, what is product? Product is bundle of satisfaction. Product is nothing but is a good or operation management scope has been enlarged to include service also. It's a bundle of satisfaction. When I purchase a car, when I use it, say mobile phone, or when I use a computer, that gives certain satisfaction. That's are very useful to the customer. What satisfaction? So by a car, my commutations become very easy. I can commute easily. Yes. By iPhone or by a phone or a mobile phone, you are connected or you can connect either way. So product is a bundle of satisfaction. It gives satisfaction to the customers. And product is the conceptual creation of a producer approved by the consumer. That means production is a mental creation of a producer and that product must be approved by the consumer. If a conceptual creation is not approved by the consumer, the product is not useful. So while product selection, many factors come into pictures. Number one are demand and supply characteristics. Demand and supply characteristics basically means whether it is standard product or it is a job order products. Standard product with less variety, we produce a similar type of products. So there the product selection will be different. And if it's a job order products, our product selection will be different. Then come frequency of consumptions. How frequently we consume a product. It's a fast moving consumer goods like detergent or a soap that we use say weekly or every alternative days. So we are bound to consume every week or every month. But if it's a consumer durables like refrigerator or by say fan or AC, we purchase and use for a longer period of time, their product selection will be again different. Nature of use, whether it's a consumer goods, whether it is industrial goods. And lastly, there is product characteristics. What type of product class it is, what is the product mix, and what is the product line of that product. So basically, product is a bundle of satisfaction. Product is conceptual creation of a producers approved by the consumers. Now, coming to the topic, product selection is a strategic decisions. Thereby, it involves other functional areas like marketing, research, development, and top management therein. So when I say it is strategic decisions, is a long-term decisions. It's a long-term decision. And as I told in my last class, strategic decisions are taken by the top management. It is top management, the board of directors or senior management level, the decisions are taken. So while product selections, we involve other functional areas like marketing. In marketing survey or in marketing research, we can find out what is the need and requirement of the customers. What are and research, by research and development, we can know what type of raw materials, what type of technology we can use so that accordingly we can develop or select our product. And top management is necessary. Without the approval of the top management, there cannot be product selection. So such decisions are long-term activities, long-term decisions, and the organizations commit to that product and product selected for a long time to come. That means we don't say select a product every week or every month. Such decisions are long-term decisions, and organized commit to the product and product selected for a longer period of time. That means for 5 years or 10 years, the product is selected. After that, we can think of another design. Yes, product selection is an integrative process. Integrative means it combines different processes. The production functions, cost, quality, reliability are some of the inputs in this decision. That means production function, what are the inputs, what are the process, what is my output, that need to be discussed. Production functions, cost, how much it is cost to me for the new selection, for the new product. What is the quality of the product? Whether the quality is satisfactory or not, whether it will satisfy the customers or not, whether it is reliable, whether it can work for a longer period of time without any failure, are some of the inputs to these decisions. So I can say the criteria for product selection are the production functions, the cost, quality, and reliability. These things must be kept in mind while making a product selection. The producibility of the product or service measures the ease and speed with which product can be produced. This is a very important term, producibility. Producibility means how easily we can produce a product. So if the producibility is very high, that means we can easily make with easily and with less time we can. If the producibility is less, that means the process is complex, the time is high. So to combine my second slide and this slide, I can say that product selection is a strategic process, is a strategic decisions, along with it is integrative process for any organizations. Secondly, it is a long-term decisions, and the organization commits to this product for a long time to come. While selecting a product, we take different factors into considerations. That is cost, quality, and reliability. And again, producibility plays an important role. Producibility plays an important role in product selection. Yes. Product selection process. While you select a product, it has a definite process and it has to go through different process. First is when you make a product selection, you have to first start with a pure research. Now, this research primarily focus on advancement of knowledge rather than solving specific problem. So, suppose on refrigerator or on automobiles, on say TV or in computer, if I can develop certain knowledge, we call it pure research. Without taking the problem faced by the consumer in the current products. I don't see any problem in the current product, but when you make a research in the laboratory to make certain advancement of knowledge, that's called pure research. Now, when this research which is made in the first stage, that is pure research, the research and development is the type of applied research that is focused on developing new products and services based on that. So whatever new idea, knowledge we have developed in pure status, if you make a research and if you develop by applied research, by applying that knowledge and focusing on developing a new product or service based on that research, we call it an applied research. So applied research is more of say practical in nature or is application in nature. Whereas pure research is really theoretical, which is confined to the say laboratories, or it is confined to the say advancement of knowledge rather than solving the problems. Yes. Once the research are over, generally what the designer or the person who is in charge of product selection, he first starts with a field study. What do you mean by field study? Field study itself is a type of market research. This can take from the consumer survey, dealer survey, opinion polls. Now, consumer survey is very popular. Dealer survey is also equally popular in Indian context. What we do here, a potential say producer, say make a questionnaire, makes a survey, prepare certain questions and circulate the questions among these say consumers and take their opinion. From the consumer survey, we can easily know what are the needs, what are the requirements, what are the specifications a particular consumer wants, and accordingly, we say develop or select a product. Then comes dealer survey. Dealer are directly in contact with the consumers. So dealers can read the pulse of the consumers, what they need, what are their requirements. So by dealer survey, we can know the requirement of both the consumers and the dealers. Similarly, we can make an opinion polls. Now through internet, we can make an opinion polls. By social medias are very prominent in taking a opinion polls. So to start with, field study is the primary stage, first stage. From there, we come to the research laboratory. Research laboratory, it can be due to breakthrough achieved by pure research or applied research. From research laboratories, we can also get some breakthrough. We can find some new idea and it is achieved by pure research. Then from conscious and formalized attempts to generate new ideas for product and services. Conscious means by knowingly, formalized means by doing, by some rules and some regulations, attempts to generate new ideas. Suppose we can contact the experts, we can make a brainstorming session, or we can make an expert opinion method by which we can generate ideas from the experts or from the people who are very much familiar with the product. The output idea thus generated are screened. So what is screen? Screening is important. Screening is very important. Many products are selected, but we don't select the only one product. We we have to screen them. The new product or service is assessed to establish its market viability, as well as to find out if it is in the larger interest of the organization. It should have sufficient demand. Otherwise, there is no sense to add to the product. Again, demand is dynamic. It changes over the time. Even if the current demand is low, still we can assess the demand or we can assess the product because the demand likely to grow in future. So while screening, there are 2 or 3 important things need to be taken into care. First is the viability. Viability means whether the new product can actually be produced with the resources, with the materials, with the manpower available with us. Whether the technology which is available with us, with this technology, can you produce that product or not? That is the viability study you have to make in screening. Suppose 5 products are there, we have to screen them out, which is viable. Then, as well as we have to find out if it is in the larger interest of the organizations. When you see that we are selecting a product, we must take into the interest of the organizations. In what way the product will give benefit to the organizations. And second point, first is viability. Second is demand factor we should take into consideration. There should be sufficient demand for the product. We have a new product, but nobody is purchasing the product. Nobody is purchasing the product. Nobody sees interest from the product. There is no sense to add to the product. And third is dynamic component of demand. As you know, demand is a dynamic force. Whatever people or consumers need today may be different from tomorrow or from the next year. Now, the contention is that even if the demand is low in the current period, still we have to assess that. Why you have to assess? Because the demand for the product likely to grow in future. So screening is the output ideas, whichever is generated from the different ways, from the laboratory, from the field study, from the formalized attempts, need to be screened properly. While screening, we take these 3-4 factors into considerations. Then comes economic analysis. Economic analysis is particularly a quantitative analysis. It's a quantitative analysis. We make some calculations. The basic calculation is cost-benefit analysis. The cost shows what are the money or what is the economic value of interest of that product, economic value of the cost of that product, and benefit shows the economic value of interest, economic value of the interest. So a product is always preferable when the economic value of interest must exceed the economic value of the cost of the product, economic value of the cost of the product. If it is not so, it is not viable to produce the product. It is not viable to, then comes from a detailed economic analysis is made. This is followed by the development of product and service from a concept of to tangible entity. Once the economic analysis is over, then we can go for the development of the product or service from a concept. Now, till now it was a concept, it was an idea. That concept is now transformed into a tangible entity. That means a product. And finally, they design the product and test the product. So once the converted into a tangible entity, we will design the product and test the product, whether the product is serving the purpose for which it is selected. The purpose for it is selected. So before going to the next slide, I just say that the product selection follows certain, concrete steps. First, I told you it is pure research. Then we have an applied research. Then we make a field study. From the field study can take different forms: consumer survey, dealer survey, opinion polls. Then from research laboratories, we can also get certain ideas. Also, we can say from conscious formalized attempts, from, as I told you, brainstorming, expert opinion method. Say now many companies in foreign country, they adopt Dolphy systems by which they can generate new ideas, and whatever ideas, whatever output ideas come, that need to be screened out. That means which some has to be rejected, some has to be selected again. So a detailed economic analysis is made. We make a cost benefit analysis. What is the value, economic value of the interest, and what is the economic value of the cost? We compare it. If the economic value of interest is more than the economic value of the cost, then it's possible to go for the development of the product and the concept into a tangible entity. And finally, the design the product and testing the product. Yes. When you design the product, there are many things comes into our mind. First thing is product design. Product design, product variety. Product design contains product variety. In product variety, there are two distinctly different priorities that can affect the design of a product or service. So what are the priorities? The higher the standardization, the greater the ease in producing. What do you mean by standardization? Standardization means producing similar type of products in large volume. But there are certain advantages in standardizations. What may be the advantages? We use same types of raw materials. We may use same type of process. So we purchase raw materials in volumes. We may get certain discounts. So our unit cost may decline. And we use certain, say, special purpose machines, or the greater standardization, it is easy. We easy to produce, easy to control. It follows the same process. By adding variety, one can satisfy more customers. In case of standardization, we are satisfying a particular section of customers. For example, steel, or you say Mercedes car, these are satisfying a particular section of customers. Steel, those who are using steels. But if we have varieties, one can satisfy more customers. So, suppose Maruti is a good example of product variety. Maruti automobile is an example of, say, it is not only satisfy one type of customers, it is satisfy many customers. It satisfies many customers at the same time, because it is range of cars for different section of the consumers. Then options provide variety to a product, increasing its attractiveness to a spectrum of customers, while retaining operations as simple as possible. We see option products everywhere. So option provide variety to a product by increasing its attractiveness. And last, in product design, last thing comes is CAD and CAM. CAD stands for Consumer Aided Design, and CAM stands for Computer Aided Manufacturing. CAD and CAM are the order of the day. CAD and CAM software used to design and manufacture prototypes. Both require powerful computers. CAD software helps to design and helps the designers and the draftsmen. The CAM reduces our manufacturing cost, greater speed in producing the components. There is greater accuracy and consistency. So basically, CAD and CAMs are software which are run by powerful computers, and they are very helpful to the designers, and they are useful to the craftsmen. Many organizations are increasingly using this software for designing their product, for designing the product. Now, in this slide, I can say that when you use CAD and CAM, there is greater speed in producing components. Speed is very vital. There is greater accuracy. The chance of mistake, the chance of doing things wrong is very less here. Again, consistently we do things. There is no variation. And it is a handy tool in the hands of the designers and the draftsmen. So product design, say three things: product variety, say maybe standardized product or variety product. Standardized product satisfy particular type of consumers, whereas by variety, we can satisfy many customers. Next slides will go is very important. Design characteristics. While you design a product, what things comes to your mind? There are a lot of lists are there. There are many lists. The lists are very high. So if you say that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10 characteristics a designer must take into consideration. First, we'll discuss one by one. Function. The new design must properly meet the recipient's needs and perform the functions for which it is designed. That is very important. My friends, functions are very important because if you have designed a product, but it is not meeting the needs of the customers. Customers need something. You have designed something. And it performs functions for which it is designed. So if a mobile phone is designed to communicate, say, when you are on mobile, that means you need not be there at your home or at any stationary place. You can be mobile and you can be communicated. That is the function it is supposed to do. If it is fail in its functions, we say that the design is wrong. That means functions, the new design must properly meet the recipient's need. What the recipients need and what are our new design, that must match. Second is cost. The total cost incurred in producing new design should not be excessive, else it will affect the demand. Why? If the cost is more, it will naturally lead to high price in the market. So if the price is very high, it may not satisfy a majority of the customers. So demand will be naturally affected. Demand will naturally be affected. So while designing a product, cost must be taken into consideration. At what cost we are able to produce the product? If the cost is too much, we should take care of it. And too much cost will hamper our demand. Yes, quality. The quality of the product as high as possible within the constraint of cost. Quality can cost money, and excessive quality will increase cost and reduce demand, and inadequate quality will affect performance and lead to complaints and fall in demand. So there is a, say, contradictory or trade-off. What is that trade-off? If I make excessive quality, if I make my quality very excessive, so Audi or say your iPhone, the quality is very good, but excessive quality will increase cost and reduce demand. So demand will be less in the market. People will purchase, but a particular section of the community or the society will purchase that product. But on the other hand, if you sacrifice your quality, if you don't make qualitative product, that will affect the performance. That will also lead to complaints. That also will lead to decrease in demand. So both are affecting the demand. So while designing a product, we should take the quality factor into consideration. We should maintain a balance, that we should not make too excessive quality or should not make too bad a quality. So there should be a balance. Then next is reliability. The new design should work without failures for expected durations. This is more important for complex design. Suppose I have got a car, I have got a refrigerator, I have got a, say, computer. I expect that must run, say, for a certain period of time without failures. So if every 100 kilometers or every 200 kilometers or every 1000 kilometers, say to every 1000 kilometers, if my car gives problems, failures, then I will be the dissatisfied customers. So the new design should work without failures, at least for certain expected durations. I cannot say it's a lifelong it will work without failure, but for certain expected period of time, the product should be reliable, the product should work. And this is more important for complex design. When design is very complex, when the product is very complex, when there are large number of processes are involved, then the product should be reliable. Then comes your appearance. It is also very vital. The product should be attractive without sacrificing other attributes that is only likely to improve the demand. So if a product is attractive, if a product is, say, good to look at, then the customers will be attracted towards the product. The customers will attracted to the product. Then without sacrificing, what factors we will not sacrifice? We will not sacrifice the, say, quality of the product. We will not sacrifice the function of the product. That I don't want to say that my product is attractive, but it fails in its function. It fails in delivering the quality to the customers. So having an attractive product without a functions, without a quality is useless. So my point is the product should be attractive, but without sacrificing other attributes like its functions, its qualities, its reliability. And if that is so, then it is likely to increase the demand. If the product is very beautiful and it is not fulfilling other attributes, then the product may be a failure. Then comes environmental impact. The new design should not degrade the environment. What do you mean by degrade? That means we are living in a society, we are living in an environment, we are taking the air, we are using the air, we are using the, say, ecology of the country. So if there are air pollution, if I design a product by which, if I produce that product, it will pollute the environment in which I live. Environmental pollution to leads many diseases, health hazards. If I selected a product which is polluting the air, which is polluting the water, isn't it? So that means my water is polluted. I may catch certain disease. So while developing a new product, we should keep in mind that the product should be the products should be such design. It should not degrade the environment. Then comes your productivity. The new product should be produced with ease and speed. While designing a product, we must see that the product should be produced with easily and it should be produced with speed. It takes a long period of time. It takes complex machine, so it will lead to the cost. It will lead to high cost. And if it is high cost, is a problem for the organizations. Why there is problem for the organization? If the cost is high, it will lead to high price and will affect the demand for the product. So productivity shows that how easily we can produce the product and how less time we can produce the product. Then timing, then maintainability. This is particularly applicable to consumer durables and industrial products. If a failure occurs, it should be easily repairable with a minimum downtime. So maintainability means the product should be maintained, the product should be repaired when it becomes defective. This is very important for consumer durables. Now, suppose I am using a computer, so I am using a car, I am using a, say, micro oven. These are all consumer durables. Or I am using certain machineries in my factory. Then failures are bound to occur. Because it is all electronics or mechanical products, failures are bound to occur. If a failure occurs, how easily it is repairable with a minimum downtime? Because if a machine becomes down for a longer period of time, if machines becomes, say, down or it is not in a defective manner, so the productions may not take place. The production may be hampered. The production may be disturbed. So maintainability gives you the advantage that if failure occurs, it can be easily repairable. I can give you an example here. Suppose you have a product, it goes wrong in some part of a country. If the spare parts is to come from another part of the country, or the mechanics is to come from another part of the country, then it takes a lot of time to repair it. So, in case of maintainability, the spare parts, the repairman or the persons who can take care of the product should be available in and around the place where the product is being used. If the product is used in one place and if the facilities for repairing are available in another place, it takes a longer period of time. Another factors which you take into account is timing. This is particularly relevant for design of services, for designing of services. So, as I told in the last class, there is a difference between service and product. Service is generally intangible. Service is created whenever a customer requires it. So it's work on just-in-time system. We don't say store the service, or in case of product, we can store it and sell it later. So why timing is very vital? Suppose I require a service. For take an example, I require a repair service. It should be available in time. If the timing is not correct, it is not say good to design, have such a product where we cannot, or we, for such a service for which we cannot give proper service in correct time, in say exact time when the customers need the service. So it is relevant to service sector and it should be available as desired by the consumers. So whenever the consumer desires a service, we must be in a position to give that service to the customers. Then accessibility is also an important factor. That means the product should be accessed. The product should be accessed by the consumers so easily. So Again, before going to the next stage, I can say that these are certain set criteria. These are certain criteria on which we say make or design characteristics. We can say these are the characteristics of design. So most important, as I told you, function. We should solve the function, the cost, the quality, reliability, appearance, and environmental impact. It also see product safety, productivity, maintainability, timing, and accessibility. Yes. Next, come to our mind is process selection. Now, once the product is designed, once the product design is over, then we come to process. Process selection is nothing but it is the ways the organization choose to produce the product. The methods we use to produce the product or provide their goods and services. It involves choice of technology, type of processing, and so on. It influences capacity planning, layout of the facilities, equipment, design of the wash system. So, process selection can simply be said, whatever design, whatever product we selected, how we will produce that, what is the methods of producing that, and how will you provide their goods and services. When you make a process selection, we have to make the technology. What type of technology we are going to use, type of processing. As I told you in the last class, there are different types of processing. So on. It influences our capacity planning. As I told you, capacity planning means how much I should produce, what capacity my organization should have, so that I can meet the demand of the customers. It influences the capacity planning. Layout of facilities. There is a unit, we will discuss layout facilities in the 4th unit. Layout means arrangement of the machineries, arrangements of equipments, and what type of equipment we will use, what type of equipment we will generally use is also influenced by the process selection. And design of our wash system. What wash system we will follow in our organizations also depends on our process selection. So before going to the next slide, I can say that process selection is a method, is the organization, the ways the organization choose to produce or provide their goods and services. It involves choice of technology, type of processing, and so on. So it influences your capacity planning, layout of facilities, equipment, design of wash systems. Yes. There are different types of manufacturing system. There is intermittent system, there is continuous system. As I told you, there are also, we can add here as a batch system, say job shop system or project. All these are types of manufacturing system. But basically, we can take, say, manufacturing systems into two parts or two categories: intermittent system and continuous system. Intermittent system and continuous system. What is intermittent system? Goods are made to specifically fulfill orders made by the customers rather than for stock. Production systems are flexible. Workloads are generally unbalanced. In-process inventory are large. Highly skilled operators are required. Need high investment. Elaborate sequencing and scheduling are required. Now, first thing is the definitions of intermittent system. Is intermittent means we produce in intervals. We don't make continuous production system. Here, goods are made to specifically fulfill orders. If customers come to me and ask me to produce something, I produce the product, and whatever date I have committed to the customers, on that day the customers come and sell in the market and take away their stitched clothes rather than for stock. Now, in an intermediate system, I can say as tailor, an example of tailor. Many customers come and give their measurements and give their specifications, and the tailor stitches the cloth, and what he does, he does not stock them, and he fulfills the orders given by the customer. Whatever the orders the customers has given, accordingly he fulfills them. Now, these are the characteristics of intermittent system. Production system are flexible. Flexible means it can change. Why this system is flexible? Because it's flexible, because it can produce varieties of products. Because it is not fulfilling a particular order. It is fulfilling varieties of orders. It is fulfilling varieties of order. The process is different. So therefore, the production systems are flexible. As and when the orders change, where the specification change, according to the specification of the customers, the production systems is also need to change. That is called flexible. Workloads are generally unbalanced. Why it is unbalanced? Suppose there are two products, or one type of products have heavy orders and other products don't have any orders. In that case, we don't produce B product, we produce only A product. So there is an unbalance. That means the workers, the machines are highly engaged in producing A product, but in case of B, they are idle. In-process inventory are large. That means the inventory of stocks from one machine to another machine are very large. And here highly skilled operators are required, because we use different machines for different products. We require highly skilled operators that to take care of different machines. Since we require different processes to produce different products, we need high investment. We require high investment. Initial investment should be high. And the last one is equally important, elaborate sequencing. Sequencing means the order in which we perform the work, and scheduling the time at which the work should be started and the work should be completed. So, in contrast to intermediate system, there is another system is continuous system. As distinct from intermittent flow process, all outputs are treated alike in this form of processing, and workflow is relatively continuous. The variety is small and volumes are high, thus making it worthwhile to focus the transformation process on the output. This requires arranging the facility in the sequence in which they are required for the output using high-speed special purpose machines. Now, if you compare intermediate system and continuous system, in intermediate system, the outflow is not, the flow process is not continuous. We produce for some times, then you stop, then again you produce when the customers need. But here the process is very much continuous. The process is very much continuous. The outputs are treated alike in this form of processing. The workflow is continuous, and in case of continuous system, the variety is very small. We don't find variety of product, we find standard products having same specification, having same features. The volumes are very high. So when you have a continuous system, we just arrange the machines facilities in a particular sequence when they are required for the output. And here we use high speed special purpose machine. So characteristics of continuous process: we produce high volume products. That means we produce in large quantity. Quantities are very high. We don't produce, say, small quantity products. When you produce high volume products, the products are standard, the products are similar. So it is easier planning and control. That means since the system is continuous, it follows a particular path or particular sequence. So planning and controlling becomes easy, and the workflow is linear. That means materials move in a straight line. So it's a linear workflow method. So there is no problem. So continuous process, these are the three characteristics. Now, in case of, we have certain advantages. What is the advantages? When you produce in large volume, we enjoy certain advantages. This is called economics of scale. When you produce in large quantity, our average cost, our unit cost comes down. Cost per unit comes down because of various benefits like economics of scale. We get marketing advantages, we get, say, raw material advantages, we get, say, certain economic advantages. So all types of advantages are enjoyed when you produce in large volume. Here we use one type of machines or with special purpose high speed machines. Operational skills is very low here, and simpler managerial skills are required. Yes. At the same time, there are certain disadvantages of the continuous process. This process is highly inflexible, difficult to adopt any change. Why it is so? Because in continuous process, we produce a particular type of product. The products are standard, and the system is meant to produce that product only. We cannot produce any product other than that. So if there is a requirement to change the product, it's very difficult to adopt that. It's very difficult to adopt. We cannot change it. Possibility of stoppage of line. This is the major drawback of a continuous flow of system, because all materials move in a sequence and in a straight line. Suppose there are three machines, A, B, C, and the materials move from A to B to C. If in between B breaks down, that means the inventory, in-process inventory stops at after A. So the entire, say, work is halted. The entire process is halted. So there is possibility of stoppage of the line. If one of the, say, machines goes wrong, then if there is a breakdown at any workstation or any material handling equipment, the whole system may come to standstill. Balancing the line, the work content of each station should be equal to avoid bottlenecks in idling of resources. That means when you make a continuous process, the lines should be balanced. The lines should be balanced. That means all the workstation should get equal work. Suppose if A is overloaded, B is underloaded, then B will remain idle. A will work more time. Low work morale since work is standardized and repeated. Yes. That means if you do a particular work always, that brings you monotony. This brings monotony, and this brings, say, we find there is no scope for development and learning new things in life. So sometimes in a continuous process, it leads to low morale of the customers. That's why continuous process is sometimes criticized. Production of services. In production, services could be produced by using different process, although intermediate processing form has a typical form used for services. So high initial cost is there. Thank you very much for patiently listening to me. Next class, we will discuss about the facility locations. Thank you.